Hey guys, welcome. This is Book Talk with Corbin. Going live again. Really felt it was necessary to do that because it's just some good stuff I wanted to share. Again, I've already done a couple of things on 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power by Dr. Boyce, Watkins. And I hope the audio is much better on this one than it was on the others, because a lot of what I'm sharing is important. Guys, in January 2023, I'm going to start a book discussion group. And it will be around 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. What I'm going to do is create a Zoom link. I'm going to put out there, hey, if you want to join this link, then if you want to join the discussion, then send a $2 donation to such and such PayPal account. And then what we'll do is I'll send you the link, and then you'll be part of the discussion. I want to do that because I just don't want to nilly-willy let anyone into the discussion. I really was just looking for maybe like 5 or 6 folk who would join in, and we just have a good discussion about this book. We really stay focused on this book. Because let me tell you something. You stay focused on this book, it's like a tiny little seed. This book is like a tiny little seed. And if you bury it, and then you nurture it, and you give it some sunlight, it will turn into a major tree. That's just what this book does as far as thought is concerned. And hopefully, this is what this book would do as far as action is concerned as well. Let me read from you today from 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. You can get this from Amazon.com. Amazon.com. Please go to Amazon.com and get it. And this is on page 73. And he puts here in quotation marks, this is why I don't support black-owned businesses. Now, many black folk know that we've had many different types of organizations, such as the Nation of Islam, more conservative organizations, black writers, more liberal black organizations, more liberal black writers. Many times they'll say, hey, we need to support, black folk need to support black-owned businesses. Why? Because in doing that, it would help decrease black unemployment. In doing that, it give more black folk, particularly our young people, opportunities, to move up to bigger and better things. So, and it also would circulate more dollars within the black community. There's a group that was put out, years and years ago called Black Heritage Products. I think it came out of North Carolina. And that guy would put out some stats saying, the black dollar circulates maybe a few times within the black community, but dollars that go circulate within different white community sectors circulates, 10, 20, 30, 40 times more often. So that $1, it impacts in a positive way a whole lot of different folk, whereas the black dollar just sort of circulates for a little bit and then boom, pops out and goes somewhere else. Folks, don't you really see that when you see a lot of these black folk get involved in these designer bags and designer shoes, things like that? Whose pocket do you think that's immediately going to enrich? I'll tell you one pocket is not going to immediately enrich. It's not going to immediately enrich, things like publicly traded black-owned companies like Carver Bank. But anyway, I digress. Let me read this here. Okay, that's why he starts it off. And then Dr. Boyce recounts this. I once gave a speech in Los Angeles. On my way to the speech, I had a great conversation with the Uber driver. She was a very nice woman in her 40s who drove Uber as a second stream of income outside her office job. I could tell the woman was educated and very curious about the work that I did. I told the woman that I was giving a speech about black wealth and supporting black-owned businesses. This led her to tell me an honest story about why she doesn't care about supporting black-owned businesses anymore. And the woman's quoted here. I went to a restaurant in a black neighborhood, tried to support black. The food was terrible, the service was bad, and the prices were way too high. When I complained to the management, she gave me all kinds of attitude. It seems like every time we try to support our own, something like this happens. And then the woman concluded by saying that's why she doesn't go for all this, support black businesses and patronize black businesses, etc. Now, here's Dr. Boyce talking. This is something I've heard This is something I've heard from quite a few people over the years. Many times when we talk about building and supporting our own, we often hear stories of poorly conceived products, bad customer service, scammers, and those who don't fulfill their economic commitments. It might be beneficial for us to reflect on this self-hatred and why it is so often leads to us generalizing in a way that is entirely unfair. So, I think Dr. Boyce has a point there, and I said to myself, well, we can do that with something like a book discussion on his books. I think he's absolutely right. We gotta raise questions, and we gotta deal with them and struggle with them, and hopefully as we're doing that, with that information and knowledge, then we're applying it. Okay, and so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to put out there. So if folks want to join in a book discussion, it's on this, book discussion on this 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. You can message me, email me, and I'll send you the PayPal link. You send in $2, and then once I get the $2, I'll send you the link, and we'll have a discussion. And it will be a one-time discussion, definitely, possibly a two-time discussion, two separate times. I'm not going to charge you twice. And here's another thing I'm going to do. I will put, once you make that $2 fee, pay that fee to come into the discussion, receive the link to participate in the discussion, I also will put your name in a raffle box. And at the end of the first discussion, I will announce right there over the Zoom, pull out the raffle ticket and read the name on it, and that name will receive a book from me by Dr. Boyce Watkins. So, folks, stay tuned for that. Let others know about what's happening going into 2023, what we're doing here at BookTalkWithCorbin.com.